there, Aries. Welcome to your general Tarotscope for the first half of November, ending on the 14th when we have a full moon in the sign of Taurus. So this is your second house of earned income. Please do not click off this video and think I'm just doing astrology. I'm just talking about a few transits while I shuffle these cards. And this transit of that full moon can bring an increase in the money that you earn. Now, for some people, there may be some ending in, I guess it would be some kind of a business, and that would be related to that full moon. But I tend to see full moons as full, so there's like a lot there. It's a very abundant kind of a thing happening, and so I tend to see a swelling of income. And that's how I choose to see those kinds of transits. And then actually before that, on the 8th, or it could be the 9th, early in the morning. This is, in the US, we have the elections on the 8th, which is why I keep saying that, because it's coming in right after the elections are over with, if they ever get over with, depending on what happens. But so Mars is going into Aquarius, which is a very rebellious type of an energy, very revolutionary. And for you, this is your 11th house of the collective. So this could very well be kind of like what I'm talking about. I don't know if any of you are politically active, because to me, the 11th house deals with politics. So because it's kind of like the mass consciousness. And one of those areas would be like humanitarian and political activities. So if you live in the United States, you may be doing something that during that period of time that relates to these concerns. But in general, it may just be a time when you're very active with groups. It doesn't have to be one type of group. It could be with friends. But there's it can, veer into aggression, so watch out for that, because Mars is the god of war, hello, but also just in terms of how Mars expresses itself. Sometimes Mars is so like overbearing that it can, overpower things and, can be very demanding. And so you may just be, sometimes it can indicate fighting with people, having conflict with people. In this case, it would be your friends, your group of friends or something like that. But, even with conflict, things happen for a reason. And when we argue with one another, if we're conscious of what we're doing, we're trying to kind of like come to common ground. People tend to not just argue for no reason. Some people do. But usually there's something that wants to be said. The other transit that I want to talk about is Venus is going into Capricorn on the 11th, and that's going to be in your, well, I should know this because that'll be 10th house. Wow. So I think it'll be, something may really come about this month related to your career, because Venus in the 10th house can make you very, magnetic to the higher ups and people of that nature. If you're looking for a job, it's really great to appeal to people. And Venus brings money. So again, you get a boost to your second house and you get a boost to your 10th house. The other transit I want to tell you about is that Mercury is going into Sag on the 12th, and that'll be your 9th house. So that's really good for anything involving PR work, like advertising, and just dealing with publishing. Mercury deals with those things already, and travel. Mercury deals with travel, but when you're talking about the 9th house, you're talking about long distance travel. So if you're in academia, you may be trying to get a job as a professor or something like that, and that goes along with that. So, alrighty then. Just a little side. I think I'm going to just do these cards like this, because I just... Okay, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to pull this back. I mean that. Yeah, I think that's better. Wow. It's funny, I'm getting a few of the same cards, which may indicate something in general about what's happening, I suppose. Let me collect my cards. Look at this thing for a second. Talk about the first card. This is the overall theme for the first half. This is about happy home, marriage. I mean, it really does specifically have to do with, you know, a relationship, a committed relationship, or a home, like moving into a new home. You know, I suppose if you're talking about business, it could be related to a home business where you're doing things from home, because any of the Wands cards could relate to career matters. So that's always a possibility. And for sure, because we have in the past position, we have the Knight of Pentacles. This could have been you just like really busting tail. And, you know, so that you could have this house. You could have a down payment on a new house and just really like, you know, applying yourself. You know, people don't know that some, you know, Aries individuals are very, very, they can be very, you guys can be very good at that kind of thing. It's just a matter of, you know, I was going to say, you know, I was kind of like, for a minute, I was thinking of Leo because I had just done Leos. And I've done all the fire signs today, unintentionally. But yours was kind of intentional, I guess. But I was just thinking, you know, I was thinking more of Leo, to be honest with you, because Aries, you guys tend to be very, you tend to get bored easily. So that can be the only thing that stops you. You can be very hard workers. It's just that you love starting new projects. So you're kind of like a catalyst. So in a way, I think even though Aries people like to, you know, do their own thing, they benefit sometimes with having partners or having other people do the grunt work, and they can be the big ideas people, and they can start it off, and they can have all the energy, and then let everybody just, you know, pick up the pieces, or, you know, afterwards do the rest of it. Because the Knight of Pentacles is a very, you know, he's a knight who is just very grounded. And it's funny because I just picked that card, I think, for another sign. And I was saying the same thing, and I was saying, you know, the Knight of Pentacles is the only knight that is not chaotic. He doesn't have that. And, you know, Pentacles are the earth element. So you would expect people of the earth element to be more consistent, practical, grounded, and all that stuff. So that's not really a revelation, but I'm thinking that if this isn't you, then it might be describing a person that you have settled down with. And that would be an earth sign, or maybe you're, you know, getting married, and maybe you haven't officially done it. But this is Taurus. What's the other ones? I can't think straight. I got to bed really late last night. Capricorn and Virgo. Okay, so these are people that this could be, and it doesn't have to be a sun sign. They're generally people that are very they're nondescript. They're very practical, pragmatic. You know, when I said nondescript, I mean they're not flashy people. They just tend to be, you know, all about their business and all about business. But this could have definitely been, I always think of the knight itself as Aries, because it's like this kind of like with the sword, you know, just going out there and like fighting the battles of life. So I always think of that anyway. So that could be just like you being uncharacteristically like this because you want to get married, or because you have a new home that you have to pay for. You know, but as I say, this could be something to do with your own business. Maybe it's the second business. Maybe you have a home business that you're doing so that you can save up extra money for a house or some other reason, because the Knight of Pentacles is trying to save money for what their financial, goals are in the future. What's coming in is the King of Wands. So this is a card that we would associate with somebody who is a business owner, but it's also like a very mature, passionate, creative energy. So hopefully that's you. The Knight the Knight is under the King, so that's why he can be chaotic sometimes. But even with the Knight, we have the Pentacles, so we have all this kind of controlled energy. And with the King of Wands, it could be just reiterating the fact that you are in the driver's seat in some way, that you're not an underling, you are not taking orders, and you are providing for maybe your family in a way that is very kingly, where you're making bank, you're bringing in, just bringing it in like big time, the money. And I'm a vegetarian, so I refuse to say bringing home the bacon. But no, it can be anything related to just being on top of your game when it comes to finances. But it's not really finances. That would be Pentacles. It's more of just creativity, your business. And it's like that, to me, the King of Wands is not somebody who's, being in a very subordinate position. It's somebody who's actually in charge of what's happening. So there's a sense of empowerment with it, is what I'm getting at. Now, this could be somebody else. I mean, this could be somebody who's your boss. Maybe you're involved with your boss, and you're having an affair, and you're married to an earth sign, and your boss is a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sag. I don't know. I mean, it can also, here's another thing. Maybe you're about to become a father. Kings can relate to fatherhood. And maybe you have to work extra hard because you know that you're going to be bringing a new life into the world, or you have just brought a new life into the world, and you're getting your nest ready. And that's what the Four of Wands is about. Yeah, I mean, it could be a number of things. I've been saying, and I said this in another video, somebody accused me of being wishy-washy because I'm saying maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And I do plead guilty to not being able to tell every one of you Aries, millions and millions of Aries in this world, exactly what's going to happen to you in the next 2 weeks. And I'm not a fortune teller anyhow. I'm somebody that, uses the Tarot as symbolism to kind of like talk about things that may be going on in your world that can give you personal messages, but not necessarily tell you the future, because that would mean, wouldn't it, that the future is set in stone, and that means who cares? If we don't have any control over our lives, what difference does anything make, right? Right? So I don't believe that we don't have control over our lives. So me telling you what's going to happen is, the opposite of what I want to do. This isn't about me predicting, this is going to happen to you. You're going to become a father. You're going to do this. This is stuff that, is already probably in your life. This is synchronicity. It's like looking at these symbols and seeing if they apply to your life and what lessons you can learn from them, what messages you can gain from them. So the higher message is the Six of Swords, and this is about choosing peace, going towards peace, going away from conflict. A lot of times this card is seen as a card indicating that there's going to be physical relocation. And yeah, that can certainly apply, I'm sure. But I see that card as also, especially for Aries, it would be very significant for you on a spiritual level, that you are, maybe you did get involved in a battle with somebody in the past. Who knows? Maybe this is a past relationship, this earth sign. And maybe you just kept going on with that person, and you realized that it was a dead end, and you decided, I choose peace. Aries people kind of like that sparring sometimes. You kind of like, it seems like a lot of Aries people get into boxing too, as kind of a sport or a hobby, whatever. And on the verbal level, they can do it too, because you're just naturally passionate and even combative sometimes, people, where you just love to mix it up. And yet even you can realize when something is toxic. And so you may just finally decide, no, I don't care if it looks like I'm surrendering. I do surrender, and I'm going towards peace. Could be a physical move. The card right above it is actually a card associated with moving into a new house. So maybe those situations are related, but this is a spiritual message. So it could be that it's telling you this was the thing, that you needed to do in order to get to that place. You needed to make that move. Maybe it was something that was hard for you to do. But it could be spiritually just getting away from somebody that was causing a lot of contention. And this could be work too, because, I was just thinking about, when I said contention, I was thinking about how I mentioned that Mars going into your 11th house with your friendships. And of course, that could be something as well, where there's fighting with your friendships. But that means that it was in your 10th house of career until the 8th. And what that can mean is that, and so I'm assuming it's in that house right now, what that can mean is that something with your career front, maybe there was some problem and you had to quit and start your own business. And it's telling you that you chose peace and you did the right thing. Okay, so the card that crosses you is the Page of Cups. And it's another one I've been getting. This could be somebody, this could be an actual person who's causing problems. I immediately think of Pisces. It's a water sign, possibly. Somebody with dreamy personality, very kind of otherworldly, ethereal. Could be a Cancer, could be a Scorpio. We're in the sign of Scorpio. Out of those three signs, I would say Cancer is the one that you guys hook up most with. The least likely might be Scorpio. I'm not sure. I know Leos do. Leo forms a square with Scorpio. You form a square with Cancer. So sometimes opposites attract in that way. And there's a lot of, there can be problematic elements with that, but there can be some areas that you have a certain affinity with that person. So for you with Cancer, you're both cardinal signs. So there's that sense of being very active, not, you might get very frustrated, even with like a Sagittarian who's a fellow fire sign, with their penchant, and I'm a Sagittarian, of talking about what they want to do. You want to do things. You don't want to just talk about it. So you have to, this could be you, because, you know what I was going to say though? This could totally be you, because I've said this before, that Aries can be very naive, very, very naive, but that's kind of your charm. It's like what you see is what you get. Unless your rising sign is a water sign, one of the, I would say especially if it's Scorpio or Cancer, where there's quite a difference between the self and the image. But in general, Aries people are very, very almost childlike in their innocence, in their directness. And so what you see is typically what you get, but they tend to do the same with other people. They tend to trust people who should not be trusted. They believe, because they're so because you guys are so, typically, now obviously some of you may be lying liars for all I know, and I'm not saying that my viewers, I'm talking about in general, because some of you may know Aries that are not being truthful. And actually, I do know. I do think, when Aries lies, though, they exaggerate, like bigly, or big league, to quote Trump, because they are very, they're very like, you guys love, the more the better, and so if something, is one way, you want to expand it and make it more than what it is. You're prone to exaggeration, and that can come across as lying, I guess. Tall tales, they call them. But in general, you guys are not. So you treat the world the way that you act in it. And that can be a recipe for disaster, because other people can see you. I've said this before, as an easy mark. You're very generous, and that's a biggie, that where people see that, who are conniving, who are not, trying to do something with good intentions, and they can, just be grifters, and they can use you for whatever it is that they think that they can get. And it's sad to me, because I feel that generosity is a very beautiful thing. As long as the person isn't doing it to control another person, it's a beautiful thing. Being of an open heart, of an open wallet. I'm not really joking. I'm saying seriously. People like that are people who tend to be very warm-hearted. They tend not to be petty people. So, and that's how you are. You're not a petty person. You have a lot of great qualities. And unfortunately, some people who are petty, who don't think that they can attract money on their own, so they have to, try these nefarious means of, obtaining it, they can glom on to somebody like you. So you have to be very aware of, the people that you're dealing with. And this could be in work as well, obviously. And so this is the energy of somebody who's very trusting. It can be somebody like I associate with Pisces, who's very spiritual, but very naive and gullible, believing the best in others, but not, refusing to really see what's happening around them, maybe not seeing what they want to see. And that can cause, whether this is a new relationship or that you're involved with, that you need to, if you're traveling and you're seeing somebody else, make sure that person is on the up and up too. Same with business. You have these great indications that you may be, accomplishing your goals, maybe having an increase in your finances, but make sure that everything is as it should be. And sure enough, the advice is right along on target. Look within, the High Priestess. This is about, consulting with your higher self. Listening to God, not talking to God, listening to God. And God can be your guides. It doesn't have to be, the head honcho. It can be, this, what do you call it? Just your higher self, that part of you that is always in the spiritual dimension and that never leaves the spiritual dimension, is always with God. That is kind of like, I guess we're connected with a silver cord. Physically, we're not physically connected, but, in the physical dimension, we're connected to our higher self. And so supposedly when we die, and which is really in quotes, our silver cord is broken, and then we go just to the spiritual dimension, and our physical connection is totally lost for the time being until we go, if we come back here or what have you. But right now we have that connection if we tune into it. Aries has to be careful that, you're not, running here and there so much so that you are not taking time to be quiet, to get quiet, to be still and know, as they say. And that will give you your information. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just a matter of sitting still with nothing on, no TVs, no nothing, just sitting and being still. And, you know, who knows what will come to you. The outcome, very good for business, I'll tell you that much. Knight of Pentacles. This, no, did I say knight? I meant king. This is the person who is, I just said the head honcho. Well, this is the head honcho of the company. This could be your company, but this is financial success of the, you know, the utmost variety. So this is about you really taking charge, because the king takes charge. This is you with the Knight of Pentacles. You can really accomplish a lot if you put your mind to it and you put your elbow grease to it. You can really accomplish a lot, Aries. You can really make headway. And maybe this outcome isn't going to be in the first 2 weeks of November that you're going to, you know, be the head of some amazing business. Maybe this is down the road. But first comes the elbow grease, as well as the vision. I think that's what the King of Wands would be most of all, is a vision, that passion and the vision of what you want to achieve. Once you have that sorted out, I think that you're all systems go. So I hope you enjoyed this. And oh, and by the way, that could be also the King of Pentacles, could be an energy of the person that you're with. That's an earth sign. And maybe if you're a female, that could be a male earth sign, and maybe you find out that he's going to become a daddy. And I mean with you, not with somebody else. So that might be really cool too. So we'll see what happens. Because you have the happy home, you know, you have that home happening. I'm trying to just do a little going in word like that. Yeah, so there can be many interpretations, and I hope you enjoyed this, Aries. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great rest. Well, first half of November seems pretty action-packed and successful. Bye.